let's go ahead and get the meeting started for those in Holiday Gardens, and we'll take some questions. What I do is I'm going to give you a quick little rundown of what's going on, and then we'll take all your questions. This meeting is being videotaped. It will be put on the Utilities YouTube channel. So if there's somebody you know that wanted to be here who was unable to be here, they can go to the Utilities YouTube channel and watch the meeting in its entirety. I put on your chair a little flyer from the 811 statewide system. This is, for your benefit, this is a program that I really highly believe in. What this does is, if you are planning on going out in your yard and putting in a tree or fence post or what have you, if you can do any kind of a digging, please call 811. It's completely free to you. And what 811 will do, they will coordinate with all the utilities, the water company, the sewer company, the cable company, electric company, and we will go out and mark where those particular lines are, where those utilities are, and then you know where it's safe to dig your hole. If you don't do that, then you are on the hook for any repair cost, any damage that you do. There was, last year or so ago, there was a gentleman in Holiday Gardens that was out digging a hole and broke one of my 4-inch water mains. And about 100,000 gallons of water later, he had about roughly $1,000 bill that he had to pay. So I encourage you to take this with you, keep it on your refrigerator, wherever you. You'll see on the back the color codes of what the different utilities are. And if you're going to go out and do some digging, please call 811. It's completely free, and we want to make sure that we're spending our time wisely. Also, I put on your chairs this little pamphlet that's produced by the Southwest Florida Water Management District. They asked us to send these out. It's about saving water indoors and some good tips in there. We all want to conserve water, and so that information is there. And if you want some more information about saving water and what you can do, you can go to watermatters.org, which is the Water Management District's website, and they have tons and tons of information on there. I'm going to introduce some folks we have in the back. Many of you knew Judy, who was here for a long time. Judy has since moved away. So we have Miss Elizabeth, who I'm sure you've talked to on the phone. She's the one that answers your phone calls when you call in. And next to her is Miss Evelyn. She's the office manager there. So you may, at some point in time, have her interaction with you. And then over there is my recently newly hired Mr. Antonio. Stand up, Antonio, and wave. Stand up and wave. This is the young man that you're going to see run around your neighborhood. He's going to be working on pipes and fire hydrants and meters and all kinds of stuff. So I wanted everybody to look at his pretty face and remember it, so you know he's from the utility company, and know that he's going to be coming around. If you would like to be emailed, if you would like to receive an email, if we have an emergency water break or some kind of emergency we need to report to you, and you would like to be emailed of that, please see the ladies in the back. They will take your email address and we will put you on the list, okay? If you have any updated contact information, maybe you've changed your email address or your phone number, anything like that we need to know about, or you'd like to have your mailing address changed, please see the ladies in the back, and we'll take that down. I wanted to. How many people were here last year for the meeting? Okay, a couple of you. As I'm going to remind you every year, I would encourage you to flush your hot water heater. It's very important that you do that. And if you have any filtration systems on your house, whether it's a whole house system or it's something under your sinks or what have you, some people have reverse osmosis systems, keep up the maintenance on those. What I have found over the years is I bet probably 80 to 90% of people call the office and say there's something wrong with my water, I don't have any pressure or something like that. 80 to 90% of the time, it's because of a water heater not having ever been flushed most of the time, or a filtration system. So when you call the office and you say, I have a problem with this or I have a problem with that, the first thing we're going to respond to you is, have you flushed your hot water heater, and do you have a whole house filtration system, okay? Hang on, I'm going to go through my presentation, then I'll take everybody's questions. So before you call the office and do that, we will come out and investigate it, but we're going to ask you those two things, and please check those before you call the office. Just to give you an update on what we've been doing, most of this system was built in the late 60s and early 70s, and most of it has gone through its useful life. So we're basically in a process of replacing a lot of stuff. Since our last meeting, we have installed a new well pump at well number 2. The video to that is on the Utilities YouTube channel if you want to see how we did that. While we were there doing all that, I took the opportunity we repiped everything inside, installed a new check valve and all the new components inside the well house, so all that's all up to date. We've done partial repiping and installing new check valves at well number 1, but we have 2 new valves that we got to put in there, so that's going to be coming pretty soon. We have replaced, I don't know exact count, I'm going to guess about 150 meters out in Holiday Gardens, and we are going to start that back up again here very soon, probably in the next 2 weeks, to change out the remainder of them. So you very well may see Antonio come and knock on your door and let you know we're going to replace your meter, and it's a simple, quick process. It usually takes 15 to 20 minutes, and we'll just get a new one out. But you may see on your bill where it starts at 0, and then, for example, if you use 5,000 gallons on that month, your bill may say 0 to 5,000, showing you use 5,000 gallons. So when you see that 0 on your bill, you know we've replaced your meter. Part of the meter replacing process is, there are some of you in Holiday Gardens that have your meters out front, especially those around the lake, but some of you have the meters in the backyard. We need to make sure that we have access to the water lines and the meter. If you see in your backyard, you see the power lines, you maybe see an electric box or a cable box back there, and the water lines are back there. That's a general utility easement. And in the state of Florida, you can't block an easement. So in the case of an emergency, if I was driving by and seen water running down the road and I found out it was coming out of your backyard and I can't get back there, I'm going to remove your fence. Okay? I don't want to do that. And I want to tell you that I fully respect everybody who wants to have their property secured by fences. But you need to understand, if there's a utility emergency back there, maybe a tree limb falls on the power line, and the power line's laying on the ground. The electric company is not going to come out and knock on your door and hope that you're home to go back there. They're going to take down your fence and go back and do it. They're going to correct the problem. Same thing with a water line or a cable line. So whatever utilities may be in your backyard, we want to make sure we have access to that. If you have a gate that you want to keep locked, what I would be happy to work with you. What we've done with other customers, we've done several different things. If you want to keep your gate locked, we will take a copy of the key. It'll be stored in our office, and we can use the key to go through your gate. If you want to put a combination lock on there, we'll be happy to take the combination and give us our access back there. But otherwise, if we have to get back there and nobody's going to be home, I'm letting you know now we're going to take your fence down. And if that's a scenario that happens, then I'm going to, if it's a recurring problem, then I'm going to ask you to completely remove your fence. So just remember, you can't block the utility easement, and we have to be able to get back there, not only to read the meters on a monthly basis, but be able to fix any emergencies that happen. The issue is not so much with people that are here full time, but it's people that go back north, the snowbirds. If you go back north and you're gone for 6 months and there's a water line break in the back, I just can't wait till you come back. I got to get in there. So, which reminds me of a different thing. I offer a free service to my customers. If you're a snowbird and you're going back home, if you will call us, we will be happy to come on a day that you specify. We will be happy to come turn your meter off and lock it. What I'm trying to avoid is a broken pipe during the summer while you're gone, floods your house out. We don't know about it, and there's a lot of water wasted. The thing I'm going to tell you with that is that if we'll do it for free, no cost to you. We'll be happy to do it. But when you come back and you want your water turned on, you need to give me some notice. Because please don't think you're going to pull up in your front yard and call the utility office and I'm going to dispatch somebody right that minute, because I can't guarantee that's going to happen. So if you come back and want us to turn the water back on, we'll be happy to do that. Give us some notice when you're going to be back. And when I mean say notice, I don't mean 30 minutes from now. At least a couple of days if you can. You can call the office and say, hey, we're going to be back on such and such a date. We will set a time with you. We will come out to your house, unlock the meter, turn the water on. You can go in your house, do your own inspection, make sure there's no broken pipes or leaky faucets going to cause any problems, and then you're good. Okay? So we're happy to do that. We all want to save water and conserve. And I think that's a service that's I hope everybody would take advantage of. If you have a valve between the meter and your house and you turn that off, that's fine. There's no problem with that, but I know some houses out here don't have them. So we offer that service. How many folks would be, well, let me back up for a second. Right now, to pay your bill, you can mail a check or money order to the office. We don't accept cash. That costs you a stamp. You can take it to the office. We have a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week drop box. You can drop it in there at any time. We now have the ability, you can call the office and make a payment over the phone with your credit card or debit card. I'm trying to gauge interest to see who would be interested and what kind of interest we would have being able to make payments online. I know some snowbirds, okay, thank you, ma'am. I know some snowbirds that go back north or maybe going away for a long time want to have that service. We've had some inquiries into the office. I just want to make sure that people are going to use it, because it does take a little bit of time to set up. And we have one utility. I have one utility over in Polk County now that's doing it, and it seems to be working pretty good. We had some hiccups, but I think we got through those. So if you're interested in that, we can certainly go forward with that. Okay, let me do a quick reminder, and I'll take your questions. If you want to get emailed in case of emergency, please see the ladies in the back. If you have any contact information you want to update, see the ladies in the back. And if you would like to, if you're receiving a paper bill now and you'd like to get your bill emailed to you, remember, if you get your bill emailed to you, we're not going to send you a paper copy. This is a trying to save paper type thing. So if you want to get your bill emailed to you, see the ladies in the back. They'll write down your information, and we'll make that change. Okay. I will take your questions now, and I will do the best I can to answer them. Let me start with the folks in Holiday Gardens first, so I can make sure I get their questions answered, and then we'll move on to the folks out here from Crest Ridge, and we can go forth. Yes. They're both on the same street. Is that Tammy? They're the little brick white buildings. Right, there's one. They're both on the corner. They're on Tammy. I can't remember streets. Yeah, on Tammy Lane. Yes, ma'am. Well, number one is the closest to. Well, number one is the one. Well, number one is the one to the east. That's close to Grand Boulevard. There's both of them are on Tammy. Both of them are on Tammy. And you'll see later on in the spring, early summer, we'll be painting those buildings and putting new roofs on them, and getting them back up, to the neighborhood standards. Was that your only question? Okay. Did you have one, ma'am? No? Okay. Okay. Is everybody else here from Crest Ridge? Okay. Go ahead. Yeah, most of your hot water tanks have a little spigot on the bottom of them. You can hook up a hose, just regular old garden hose, and, roll it out to your flower bed or in your driveway, and just turn it on. And as the tank empties, it'll start. The new water will come in and it'll just flush it out. And you mainly just want to run it till it runs clear. You get all that stuff in there. There's a very interesting thing that if you have your water heater set above 140 degrees, you actually grow iron bacteria in your water heater. So as you grow it if you're not keeping it clean, as you grow it and it goes into your house, it gets into screens in your faucets, it gets into your pipes. If you continually having hot water there, the bacteria continually keeps to grow. That's what I was saying earlier about the vast majority of the calls we get. People say, well, I don't have any water pressure, my water stinks, or whatever the scenario is, my water's got a funny color. The vast majority of the time, it's because you haven't emptied your hot water heater out and you have some kind of filter that's clogged up and it's clogging up the whole system. It's causing the problem in the whole system. And so when you generally call my office and say I have a problem with my water, the first thing my staff is going to tell you is, have you flushed your hot water heater, and do you have a whole house water system or a water filter anywhere? If the answer to the question of have I flushed my hot water heater, if the answer is no, we're going to say flush your hot water heater, see if that clears up the problem, and call us back. And the same thing with the water filters that you may have in your house. That eliminates the vast majority of the problems. For you folks in Crestridge, let me give you the update. Same thing as I said before, changing your contact information, want to be emailed, pay your bill online, we'll get that set up. Over in Crestridge, or here in Crestridge, as many of you have seen and noted, it was a kind of a high thing that was observed by a lot of people. We replaced the tank at well number 4. You've seen it goes in. It's brown now. It's still in primer. We have to get it painted when the weather is good. We repiped and installed a new check valve at well number 2, and we repiped well number 2 while we were there. We have replaced or repaired some of the meters that are in the valves that are in the ground, and then we will start replacing customer meters in the early summertime. We've replaced most meters in Holiday Gardens. We've not replaced a whole lot in Crestridge. So Crestridge is going to be my task for this year to get those meters replaced and get the good ones put in. And so anybody got any questions from Crestridge? You guys want to ask your question about the chlorine so I can answer it for everybody? Go ahead. Yeah, it's a very good question. The question revolves around when we put in the new tank, what I was explaining to these folks before and how we answered the question was that when we put in a new tank like that, our chlorine injection point, chlorine is the disinfectant for the water. We have to move it a very, very slowly rate, adjust it to get the chlorine right. If I was adjust it, say from 5 to 7, chlorine would be very high, and it would burn your nose. So what I have to do is adjust it 5.1, do our test, and 5.2, and do our water test. We test the water for chlorine, weekly. So it's a great question because I wanted to tell everybody that it's going to take us a little bit of time to get that dialed in, and just to let you know that this may occur again when the snowbirds go back towards, usually go around April, something like that, because the water consumption will go down. So we usually have to readjust them several times during the year based on the flows that come out. Holiday Gardens right now is pumping about 67,000 gallons of water a day, and Crestridge is about 79,000 gallons a day, 73,000 gallons a day. So, it depends on people's consumption, and there are some folks out here with irrigation that they water their yards, depending on how they do that. We have to constantly, but the point I wanted to make, it's very important that I get your feedback, because it tells me where a problem may be starting. So if you experience high chlorine, please call the office and just say, hi, this is my name, this is my address, the water has a bad chlorine smell or something, and we can come out and take care of it. It's very important that I get that feedback so we can try to get ahead of these issues. Anybody else have any questions? How many people were here for last year's meeting with? Okay, I know you raised your hands before. I didn't mean to make you raise your hands again. When I was here last year was our first meeting, and I said that if you will have me back, I'll be happy to do these meetings every year. This is a voluntary thing that we do, that I choose to do with everybody, and my staff comes along, and we're here to communicate. We're here to try to make things better and easier on everybody, and keep you updated on what's going on and what we're doing with the system. And I kind of mentioned earlier, this is an old system, needs a lot of repair and a lot of work, and we're doing that as fast as we possibly can. So bringing Antonio on board is going to help speed up that process, and we can move on to some bigger projects that are going to make everything better. The only thing that I can tell you on Crest Ridge is going to be a kind of a big project is we're going to have to replace the well pump at Crest Ridge number 2. That's a 1971 pump, and it's working good now, but it's pretty much on its last leg. So it's going to have to come out, and that project should be happening sometime during the summer. So we'll let you know about all that. Well, I got a couple minutes here. Let me tell you about a couple things, kind of some procedures. What I try to do is shut down the system once a year to do things that we need to do where there's no water pressure. But with an old utility, sometimes that's not always possible. So just to review how things are done so you can be aware of it. If we have an emergency break where there's a water line has been damaged or something's happened and we need to shut down the system now to fix a pipe, maybe there's water running down the road, then we're going to put you under a boil water notice. And it's a little door hanger that we hang on your door, and it says you're under a precautionary boil water notice. What that tells you is that the system pressure has dropped below 20 pounds, and that's when DEP makes us notify everybody that you're under a precautionary boil water notice. If you sign up for the email updates, we'll email it to you directly. But you may come home and find a door hanger hanging on your knob. I'm not allowed to put them in the mail. People have asked me to put them in the mailbox. I'm not allowed to do that. That's against the law. But if you come home and there's no water, your water's off, there's a pretty good chance you're under a precautionary boil water notice. Now, the notice is laid out, but briefly what it says is DEP wants you to boil the water, bring it to a rolling boil, and then it's safe to consume after that. You will always be under a water notice. You always be under a boil water notice until you receive a rescission of boil water notice. And again, that is a door hanger that's put on your door. That means we've fixed the problem. The operators come out and taken water samples. We've taken it to a lab. The lab has cleared the water samples, and then the water is safe to drink again. So remember that if you are under boil water notice, you're always under a boil water notice until you get a rescission. The reason for that is that we take 2 samples 12 hours apart. So if the first sample fails or the second sample fails, we have to resample. We have to go flush the system, resample. So it hasn't happened a lot, but there may be situations where you're under a boil water notice for 3 or 4 days. So I hope to avoid that. The second scenario that we have is that if we're doing a planned shutdown, I'm going to mail you out a letter a week in advance, and it's going to have the little door hanger, but it's going to be a little letter in there saying we're going to shut the system down on a certain date. Usually we do it between like 9 and 4 to make repairs. I think that's the best way to least inconvenience people, give you some notice. But keep in mind this is an old system and things break, and I don't break them, I have to fix them. But hopefully by being able to do this maintenance and replace these parts we're doing and keep everything going, that will become less and less and less over time. So just keep that in mind. And, if you have any questions, call the office. Please remember that, there's about 450 people in Holiday Gardens and about 600 and some in Crest Ridge. When the water goes down, everybody's calling. So we're just not, laying around, have nothing better to do than answer the phone. So if you call and it's busy, sometimes we'll put a message on the answer machine so people will know, that we're under boil water notice. But just remember, if you're under boil water notice, you're always under boil waters until you receive a rescission. Okay? Can I answer a question for somebody else? Yes, ma'am. For the trash pickup. For the trash. Okay, yeah. No. It has to go to a different place. And yeah, no electronics. And also no fluorescent bulbs either. No fluorescent bulbs, light bulbs. You have to take those to the county because they have the gases in them. Yeah. No, call us for the street lights. If you have a street light out, just call the office, and we'll get those folks to come out there and fix them. The we have a list in our office. If you just give us street name and maybe a close cross street or something, we can direct them to it. Okay. If you ladies will write that down, and we'll check that out first thing in the morning, and make sure we get that taken care of. I want to thank everybody for their patience in going through this process and giving us the time we need to work on the system, and it's all going to be for the better. It's all going to be for the long run of everybody, and we should start seeing your water quality return back where it should be. When we took that old tank out at well number 4, it had, I would guess, 4 or 5 inches of just rusted metal on the bottom of it. So it's just this stuff was put in. It was put in correct. It worked for a long time. It's just past its lifetime, and it's time for it to be replaced. So, can I answer a question for anybody else? Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. You can actually take them to a recycling center. They'll give you money for them. Car batteries, charger batteries, all those kind of stuff. Yeah, I know you can't put them in the trash. I don't know about the recycling center. Yeah, the fluorescent lights. Yeah. Yeah, we got to keep those out of the landfill. Okay, everybody, thank you for coming. Please let me remind you one more time. Sorry to be a stickler, but if you'd like to get your bills emailed to you, please see the ladies in the back. If you wanted to update your contact information, or you would like to be emailed in case of an emergency, okay? For the folks here that are coming for the 7 o'clock Crest Ridge meeting, just hang out a little bit, and we'll have that meeting again, and then we can go on from there, okay? Thank you, everybody.